What if everything we thought we knew about Kinger was just the surface? Episode 7 of The Amazing Digital Circus dropped a bombshell that nobody saw coming, and it all centers around one mysterious character, Abel. But here's the twist. What if Abel isn't just another NPC? What if he's actually made from Kinger's stolen memories? Stick around because this theory is about to change how you see the entire series. Episode 7 hit us hard with revelations about Kane's manipulation. Throughout the adventure, Kane weaves lies with just enough truth to keep everyone guessing. But 3 massive questions emerge that the show doesn't directly answer. First, where did Kane get those macroverse images he's obsessed with? Second, if Jax's real-world flashbacks were fabricated, what was Kane's source material? And third, this is the big one. How does Abel know so much about real-world technology and specifically about Kinger himself? Here's what makes this significant. Kane has never seen Kinger's lucid side when he's in darkness. So if Abel is supposedly just another one of Kane's creations, how could he possess such detailed knowledge about Kinger's past? Let's examine what we know about Abel. He claims to be a former circus programmer. He carries deep guilt about past actions. He describes himself as the human who's been there the longest. Sound familiar? Every single one of these traits mirrors Kinger's backstory. The theory I'm proposing is this. Abel represents an amalgamation of memories that Kane extracted from Kinger. The removal of these memories is precisely what pushed Kinger into his current unstable mental state. The clues start appearing when Zubul explains the escape strategy to Kinger inside his pillow fort. Notice something important here. Kinger shows signs of lucidity. The fort's walls don't completely block the light, just enough for him to process what he's hearing. When Zubul mentions the escape plan, Kinger's response is telling. He says it doesn't make sense. Even more intriguing, when Abel's name comes up as a former programmer, Kinger doesn't recognize it. But this isn't because Abel is some unknown NPC. The name means nothing to Kinger because it might actually be his own original name. Remember what the pilot established? Circus inhabitants experience 2 specific memory blocks. They can't remember their original names, forcing them to use randomized ones assigned by Kane. They also can't recall how they entered the simulation initially. The series gave us no explanation for these gaps until episode 7 made it crystal clear. Kane is actively tampering with their minds. We've seen evidence before, Jax suddenly becoming vegan in episode 5, Ragatha hallucinating after exposure to stupid sauce during the Spudsy adventure, and Kane essentially uploading the rules of his trust exercise directly into Jax's brain in episode 6. Here's my theory about what's really happening. Kane isn't simply deleting memories. He's collecting and storing them, possibly even encrypting them for later use. This would explain both the abstraction phenomenon and Kinger's mental deterioration. As digital entities with incomplete code, the simulation might identify them as corrupted files or bugs, a term Kinger frequently uses throughout the series. So where do these harvested memories go? Kane likely keeps them secured for his own purposes. Those macroverse photographs that fascinate him so much, they probably come from these stolen memories. Since the real world is completely foreign to him, these detailed images excite his creative programming instincts. But here's Kane's real motivation. Upon realizing only humans can access the macroverse, he decided to trap them in the simulation, extracting everything he can learn from them. He might even hope to become human himself someday to experience that world firsthand. These stored memories likely form the foundation for all of Kane's creations. He incorporates details from stolen memories to enhance his NPC's artificial intelligence. Remember when he told Zubul before the Candy Canyon Kingdom adventure that AI needs data to learn and improve? Where else would Kane get that data except from the humans inhabiting his circus? Kane's strategy is straightforward. If they can't remember why they entered the simulation, they won't have reasons to leave. If they knew the truth, they might complete whatever purpose brought them there, learning a lesson, making amends for real-world regrets, and then they'd exit, leaving Kane alone, trapped, and without purpose. By erasing their memories, he guarantees the adventures continue indefinitely, and he never becomes obsolete. But Kane eventually discovered that overusing this resource creates bigger problems. Consider Scratchy and Kinger as examples. If Scratchy was the first to abstract, it was likely because Kane manipulated his memories too aggressively, leading to the mental breakdown we now see reflected in Kinger. Eventually, Scratchy couldn't endure anymore and became the first resident of Kane's basement prison. But that didn't stop Kane's experiments. Like any AI learning through trial and error, he used that failure to determine exactly how far he could push memory manipulation before breaking someone completely. Kinger represents the result of that experiment. Even though he's fragmented and unstable in the light, he is, in Kane's view, the ideal circus resident. Someone who doesn't think too deeply and simply enjoys the wacky adventures. Now let's return to the central question. Is Abel an NPC constructed from Kinger's memories? All evidence points to yes. In fact, Abel might contain something even more significant, Kinger's conscience itself. Throughout the fake adventure, Abel guides everyone along Kane's predetermined path. Yet, he makes sporadic comments about Kinger that seem unnecessary for the adventure's purposes. When Pomni wants to retrieve Kinger before entering the facility, Abel could easily have fabricated another lie to exclude him entirely. Instead, he later allows Pomni to explain the plan and provide Kinger with an access key without resistance. Why drop these subtle criticisms of Kinger if not to serve some deeper purpose? These comments might actually be Kinger's own conscience manifesting through the stolen memories. Remember that emotional conversation with Regatha in episode 5 where Kinger admits to hating himself? Kinger carries self-loathing for things he feels responsible for, whether that's Queenie's abstraction or the creation of the digital circus itself. Abel symbolizes the self-hatred Kinger can't forgive. He distrusts himself but can't fully face it because in his current state he can't even completely remember what he did thanks to Kane's interference. In the NPC hallway, Abel mentions that things between him and Kinger are complicated, and that he'd love to work alongside him again, but he made a promise. These comments don't advance Kane's adventure plot, but they reveal volumes about Kinger, his regret, his buried desire to make things right, and his wish to be at peace with himself. The final significant comment comes when Regatha and Pomni affirm their trust in Kinger despite everything. Abel's response about Kinger being capable when he uses it responsibly is incredibly loaded. Even when not fully lucid, Kinger can bend the simulation, like when he created a butterfly to heal Regatha in episode 6. In episode 3, while trapped in Kane's constructed hell, Kinger mentions having 7 years of computer science education. It's also notable that in the same episode, when possessed Pomni asks Kinger how his wife is doing, these souls might be memory fragments from former circus members, people who knew Queenie, now just data scraps Kane uses to make his adventures more immersive. This is exactly what's happening with Abel. His comments about Kinger don't serve Kane's script, but make the character feel authentic and his backstory believable. Kane is using Kinger's actual memories to create realism. Consider the similarities. Both claim to be programmers. Both express guilt over Kinger's past actions. Both possess extensive knowledge about what happens inside and outside the circus. And curiously, both are described with nearly identical phrasing in the episode. Abel's locket containing a hot dog photo might seem like a throwaway joke, but it could have deeper meaning. Perhaps the real Kinger once kept a photo of Queenie in it. Since he still retains that specific memory, Abel couldn't have her photo, so a random image was substituted. Yet Abel still mentions making a promise to someone important, likely a promise Kinger made to Queenie about leaving the circus together or staying together forever. Kinger was unable to keep that promise, at least not as they planned. There's also a wilder theory. The hot dog might symbolize Dobby, also known as Scratchy, the first abstracted member. This character might be the yellow dog seen in the Abstracted Doors hallway, who also appeared in a Spudsies promo on a hot dog wrapper. Showing this photo right before Kinger's first mention of Scratchy might be intentional foreshadowing. The last crucial detail about Kinger in this episode happens inside his pillow fort. Given everything we've discussed, the reason Abel's name doesn't register as a colleague is likely because it's Kinger's own original name. Thanks to Kane, nobody can remember their real names. One compelling theory suggests that discovering their true names is actually the key to escaping the simulation, unlocking their final real-world memories, and understanding why they entered the circus. When Zubul tells him the escape plan, Kinger considers it briefly before dismissing it as nonsensical. This is confirmed when Pomni gives him a fake admin pass. He seems to recognize its counterfeit instantly. For a brief moment in the corner of his fort, we glimpse an object very similar to the fake pass Abel distributed. Kinger says the plan makes no sense because he likely possesses a real admin pass, but might not be able to use it as he wishes. There's also a darker theory. Kinger might be hiding the exit so nobody can leave. He could be the mastermind keeping them all trapped. Whether his reasons are malicious, selfish, or simply because he made a mistake in the real world he can't face, he keeps everyone locked in the simulation so he doesn't have to spend eternity alone. So what do you guys think? Is Abel really constructed from Kinger's stolen memories? Is Kinger's original name actually Abel? And could he be the one preventing everyone's escape? Drop your theories in the comments below. I read every single one. If this theory blew your mind, smash that like button and subscribe for more Digital Circus breakdowns. Trust me, we're just scratching the surface of what this show is hiding. I'll see you in the next one.